Okay, in this video we're doing the volume of a sphere. Right, and so in the volume of a sphere, the form is a little different. It's 4/3 pi r cubed. Alright, and so what we're going to do is, you notice I have a little sphere there. It's the best I could draw under the circumstances. And we are looking for the radius. They can give you the radius, they can give you the diameter. Remember, the radius is half of the diameter. So instead of 8, I'm going to have 4 as my diameter. I'm sorry, my radius. So this is 4. So I'm going to plug everything in. This is nice and simple about this one is you can just plug everything in. Now I like to keep my 4 with my numbers and divide everything by 3. So I actually like doing this. 4 times, we're going to use 3.14 again. My radius is 4, and we're going to cube it this time. And then I'm going to divide the whole thing by 3. That's how I like to do it. It's the same thing. Alright, so I'm going to rewrite it, and this usually works out pretty good if you just do it this way. 3.14. Now, cube means 4 times 4 times 4. A lot of kids will mess up and put 12. That's not 12 because 4 times 4 is 16, and then 4 more is 64. And you're going to divide the whole thing by 3. So, hopefully, you get to use a graphing calculator, or you have a calculator. And so you'll put 4 times 3.14 times 4 times 4 times 4, and you'll hit enter, and you get 803.84. And we're going to divide that by 3. So when we do this, our volume is going to be, divided by 3, 267.95. And that would be the volume in cubic feet. So that would be how much space is inside that little sphere. You know, like a ball, or like you pump up a beach ball or something. That's how much air you'd have to put it in there. Spheres are usually pretty simple. There's not much to them. They can give you the volume, just like we did in other problems, and then you'd have to work backwards. Alright, so we can do this, and so I'll show it to you. Don't forget, if they mention in terms of pi, you wouldn't put pi in here. Alright, remember pi, you would just leave the symbol and you do all the other math. So you would actually, your answer, if you did in terms of pi, would be 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Alright, and then we divide that by 3. My answer would be about, I just want to verify it, times, yeah. My answer would be in terms of pi, like so otherwise we didn't use pi as a number, we just left this in, would be 85 1/3 pi. Or we could say 85.3 repeating pi. It's basically the same thing. So both of these are the same answer. Alright, so now let's go ahead and work backwards and see what we get. So I'm going to go to the next page. I'm going to copy my thing like I did last time. It worked out really good. And so we can go to the next one. Okay, so here's my sphere again. I'm going to go ahead and write the volume formula down. So the volume formula is V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. Alright, let's pretend we don't know the radius. Alright, and that we want to figure out the radius. It's going to be fun, isn't it? And so but we do know the volume is 2, my thing's not working. What's the deal here? Alright, let's try to move this. I don't know why it moved on me. Alright, so let's try. So the volume equals, we're going to say it's 267.95, and we're trying to find the radius. So there's really not much to this. Alright, so here we go. The volume is 267.95 equals 4. Remember, I like putting, and then we'll put pi which is 3.14. Let's go ahead and change that now since we already know it. My radius, we don't know. We got to cube it. Boy, that's going to be fun. And divide everything by 3. So I'll multiply those two together. 4, so I'm going to say 67.95 equals, I'm going to take my calculator. I'm going to say 4 times 3.14 equals, okay, that's 1256. And I'm going to divide that by 3 with an r cube here. Alright, so divide that by 3. This is going to be fun. 267.95 equals, and then we're going to say 4.19. We'll just say 419 r cubed. Alright, so I got to get r cubed by itself, so I'm going to divide everything by 4.19. So I'm going to take 267.95 divided by 4.19. Now 4.19 is rounded, so I could be off a little bit again, just like we talked about before. And this actually comes out pretty good. It actually comes out around 63.9, which if we round off is going to be 64. So we're going to say about 64. So, and if this cancels out, so we're going to actually have 64 r cubed. Now, I'm going to kind of like move my paper over, so we're going to go to another page. If we have 64 in r cubed, this means what number times itself will give me 64. Now, there's a way we can do this. We actually can take the cube root off each of them. It's another thing. You actually could take the cube root of each one. And I'm going to show you how to do this manually, so that way you kind of know it. So that would make it r equals the square root of 60. I'm sorry, the cube root. Okay, that little 3 is the index, and that's between the little check mark. That's called an index, and that's called a cube root. All right, so here we go. We take 64. We know 8 times 8 is 64. We know 4 times 2 and 4 times 2. Then 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. So all I did was do a factor tree on it. Now, because the index, that's this little guy here, is a 3, all right, that means I want to put them in groups of 3. So otherwise, I want to make groups of 3. So here's a group of 3 on the 2's, and here's another one. And then you take these two and multiply them together. So 2 times 2 is 4. So r equals 4. And that's exactly what we had when we first did it the first time. So my radius here is 4. Doing the factor tree and knowing that this index is a cube root and making sure you can do the factors and then put them in groups of 3, that'll work. And you only multiply the numbers that are, notice this is a group of 2's, and this is a group of 2's. You only multiply the number that you made groups of. So 2 times 2 is 4.